Two brothers, 16 years apart, one walked away to find God. The other became one of the most feared lyricists alive. Almost nobody thought they'd ever rap together again. In 2026, they're holding a Grammy. This is the Clipse story, Pusha T and No Malice, the Thornton brothers from Virginia Beach. The duo that defined an entire era of hip-hop in the 2000s, then disappeared for over a decade, then walked back into the spotlight last year and made one of the most acclaimed rap albums of the entire decade. And what they pulled off in 2025 and 2026 is genuinely one of the most unlikely comeback stories in modern music. Let me walk you through how this all happened, because it didn't start with the album, it started with grief. So first, the background. Clipse formed in 1994, two brothers from Virginia Beach, discovered by another Virginia kid named Pharrell Williams. Their sound was specific, surgical, cold, beats from the Neptunes, lyrics about hustling, weight, drugs. Critics called it coke rap. They didn't invent the genre, but they elevated it into something close to art. Every bar locked in, every line sharper than the last. Their first album, Lord Willin', dropped in 2002. The single, Grindin', became a generational anthem. The kind of beat kids were tapping out on lunch tables in middle schools across America. Their second album, Hell Hath No Fury, came out in 2006 and is now considered one of the greatest rap albums of the 21st century. Then, in 2009, they dropped Till the Casket Drops, and right after that, everything fell apart. Malice was done. He had been having conversations with Pusha for years about quitting. He'd had a religious awakening. Their manager and several people in their personal lives had been arrested on drug charges. One day, Pusha showed up late to a flight, and Malice thought his brother had been arrested too. That was the breaking point. Malice told Pusha he was out. He changed his name to No Malice, converted to Christianity, started making faith-based music, and in 2014, he flatly denied any chance of a Clipse reunion. For the next decade, Pusha T became one of the most respected solo lyricists in the game. He signed to Kanye's Good Music, released solo albums that critics treated as events. He dropped The Story of Adidon in 2018, a Drake diss so devastating it was called the cleanest knockout in modern rap. He won. He kept winning. But Clipse was over. Then in 2019, something shifted. The brothers appeared together on Kanye West's Jesus is King, both credited as Clipse. It was the first official Clipse credit in 10 years. They performed together a few days later at Kanye's Sunday service. And quietly, behind the scenes, the door cracked open. But it took something much heavier to push it all the way through. In November 2021, the brothers' mother Mildred Thornton passed away. 4 months later, in March 2022, their father Gene Thornton followed her. Two parents gone in less than half a year. Pusha said in interviews afterwards that he experienced everything: numbness, function loss, pain that wouldn't let him work for a long time. That grief is what eventually became Let God Sort Him Out. If you're tracking how this redemption arc came together, subscribe to Weirdly Interesting because the next chapter is even bigger. The album came out July 11th, 2025. Self-released through Rock Nation, their first album in 16 years, 12 to 13 tracks. Entirely produced by Pharrell Williams. Features from Kendrick Lamar, Nas, Tyler the Creator, John Legend, Stove God Cooks, Tyler the Creator, and the gospel ensemble Voices of Fire. It debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200. Critics across Rolling Stone, Pitchfork, NME, Grammy.com, and Apple Music called it one of the best rap albums of the year. The album opens with a song called The Birds Don't Sing. It's a tribute to their mother. Pusha raps the first verse. The line, quote, "Lost in emotion, mama's youngest, trying to navigate life without my compass," end quote. Then Malice comes in with a verse about losing their father just months later. Quote, "The way you missed mama, I guess I should have known. Chivalry ain't dead, you ain't let her go alone." End quote. That's not coke rap, that's two grown men standing inside their own grief and putting it on wax. Critics called it some of the best writing of either brother's career. But the song everybody started talking about was Chains and Whips. The track features Kendrick Lamar, and there's a story behind why it almost didn't come out at all. The album was originally supposed to drop in 2024, but Def Jam, their label at the time, got nervous. The reason? Kendrick's verse on Chains and Whips was being released right in the middle of his very public feud with Drake. Def Jam was worried about the optics of putting that out in that climate. The label wanted to delay or pull the song. Clipse didn't budge. Instead, they paid an enormous amount of money to get out of their Def Jam contract entirely. They walked. They went to Roc Nation. They released the album on their own terms. And the song that almost got buried, Chains and Whips, became the song that won them their first Grammy as a duo since reuniting. On February 1st, 2026, at the 68th Annual Grammy Awards, Clipse won Best Rap Performance for Chains and Whips, featuring Kendrick Lamar and Pharrell Williams. The same Kendrick verse Def Jam tried to bury, now sitting on a Grammy podium with a trophy. That alone would have been a comeback story, but the album also pulled 5 total Grammy nominations. Album of the Year, Best Rap Album, Best Rap Performance, Best Music Video, 5 nominations for a duo that had been broken up for over a decade. And here's the wildest part, their Album of the Year nomination was their first Album of the Year nomination ever, after 23 years in the business, after 2 albums considered classics, after influencing an entire generation of MCs from Pusha's solo work to Rock Marciano to Griselda. The Clipse just got their first AOTY nomination in 2026. Bad Bunny ended up taking Album of the Year, but for Clipse, just being in that conversation felt like vindication for everything they had built, and walked away from what made the comeback feel even more real was how it carried beyond the album. They did NPR's Tiny Desk concert. They walked the runway at Pharrell's Louis Vuitton fashion shows in Paris. They sold out a homecoming run in Virginia Beach in late December 2025. They booked Coachella 2026 for both weekends, and they've already said publicly that they don't plan to wait another 16 years before the next project. Let God Sort 'Em Out also ended a major question that had hung over hip-hop for years. Could rap reunions actually work? Most of them don't. Most of them feel like nostalgia plays, cash grabs, tour money. Clipse came back and made an album that critics treated as essential listening, that earned a Grammy, that pulled 5 total nominations, and that stood next to the year's best work without needing a single nostalgic crutch. That's not a reunion, that's a return to power. In 2026, Clipse is no longer being called a legacy act. They're being called one of the best duos currently making music, period. Not for an old rap duo, not for their age, just full stop, one of the best duos in the game right now. And honestly, the way the album was built, with Pharrell carrying the entire production load and the brothers writing about real loss instead of recycled hustler bars, it would not be surprising if this turned out to be the most respected project of their entire catalogue when the dust settles. The brothers from Virginia Beach, who lost both parents, lost their label, lost over a decade of momentum, and walked away from millions of dollars to do it their own way, are sitting on top of the rap world again. With Pharrell behind the boards, Roc Nation behind the rollout, and a Grammy on the shelf that says for the first time in 16 years, the Clipse are officially back. Do you think Clipse is going to top Let God Sort 'Em Out, or is this their final masterpiece? Let me know in the comments.